Hi, welcome to this year's She and Me event. I hope you enjoy painting with me. My name is Jessica DeRocha. I'm going to be showing you how to do a painting of owls. Each one of you will do your own owl painting, but if you are in a family unit, you can create a branch that stems from one person's painting into the other. So you can connect all of your canvases and hang them together as a unit afterwards. So let me real quick turn the canvas. We will get started. I hope you guys came ready to have some fun. Okay, first of all, I want to talk about what is in your kit. Each member should have gotten their own canvas. You should have gotten a flat brush and a small round brush. If you end up having a brush like this and it has extra hairs coming out, you can always just gently pull out the loose hairs. You don't want those falling out while you're painting, so be aware of that as you're getting ready to go. And then you will also have your primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and two neutral colors, black and white. We will be using all of these colors, but I will teach you, and you also should have a paper inside your packet that will talk about color mixing and how to take these three colors and make many other colors from there. You can also change the value and the intensity of each color based on whether or not you're adding white or black to it. So you have a lot of options to paint with, even though you're starting with just the same primary colors. What you don't have in your kit, but what I highly recommend, is getting a paper plate for color mixing. Also, I like to grab cheap plastic knives to use as almost like a palette knife. Scoop your paint out, put it onto your plate. You can mix it with it. Also, you're going to want some paper towel. This is good for rubbing your brush on in between or cleaning up any messes that you have. And you're going to want a glass of water. I do all of this in disposable stuff. That makes cleanup much easier and less stressful. I also have placed a cheap table mat over the table so that way if I do make any mistakes, if I get paint, especially if you're painting with your younger girls, it takes the stress off of if there is a spill or paint in places you don't want it. So this is a good idea. They're usually very easy to clean, or even if you don't clean it off, if you just keep it around for the next time you decide to do a craft, really good option. Okay, so let's first and foremost talk about how are we going to make all of these connect together, because each of you, let's say you have yourself and two daughters all painting the same canvas. What you're going to want to do is line them up so that the top and bottom of the canvas are in line with each other. And you are going to want to come through. I'm just going to real quick grab my black and I want to mix it into a gray so that way it's not overpowering my picture. And I want to just kind of get the estimated location of where my tree branch is going to be going. So I'm going to take a little bit of black and I'm going to take a little bit of white. So I'm wiping off my thing in between. So a little bit of black and a little bit of white, and I'm going to put those together and mix them so I get a nice gray. That way it's not too powerful. If I want to change the color of my branch later, it's not as hard to cover over top of as black is. Okay, so once I have that done, again, in between, using just wiping off that palette knife allows you to reuse the same palette knife every single time you go to do a color swap. What I'm going to do is take, and you might want to do this if you have younger girls. If you have older girls, then you guys can just kind of connect and say, okay, the tree branch is going here and the tree branch is going here, and then allow the girls to have a little fun making their branch do whatever they want to do in there. You can have the option of creating, whoever has the outermost branch, you could create a tree trunk on this side if you want, but it's not necessary. So first and foremost, I'm just going to lay in And each girl, once you have this done, you could let each girl do their own. If you have a little one, you might do this part for them just so that this part is done accurately. You want these to look like they fit together when you connect them. I'm going to go ahead and lay in each of these tree branches. I'm using my small round brush. And one thing I will point out to you is you'll notice it's wider here and skinnier here. That way it looks like the branch is kind of going away and starting to get skinnier as it goes. You also do not have to keep this straight. You could have a little fun and make it bumpy. It might swirl up and down. That's why I said each girl can kind of have their own fun coming up with what kind of tree branch they're going to have here. And we're going to talk about adding smaller branches in just a minute as well. So I'm going to have my last little branch come and branch off. And then kind of create its own little thing going on over here. Okay, and when you're doing a branch coming off of a main branch, think about creating a Y. If you've ever paid close attention to your alphabet letters, the Y is wider at the base and skinnier at the top. So what you're going to do is have your Y be, the bottom is like the main branch, and then every time it splits, these get skinnier. And you can split them as many times as you want, but you see how that kind of looks like a Y? It makes it a little easier for you to kind of feel more comfortable. You could even put 1 or 2 branches coming off up in here. I would try, I put that way too far out of my reach. I would try to keep any splits down here so that way it's not going to be in the way of where your owl is going to be sitting. Okay, so once you have that in place, you're good to leave that alone for a bit. The next thing you're going to do is separate these out. Each girl will get to decide what kind of owl they're going to put on their paper. We still do this with paint, but if you have a younger girl, I would say probably 7 and younger, you might be able to help them just with the shape, and then they can fill in the rest on their own. But I have a little guide for you of different types of owls. We're just going to talk about the basic shapes that are used so that you can kind of have a little fun when you're picking out your owl. If you look at the first owl, the basic shape here is just an oval. Okay, and I just added fun details on my own. You don't have to have your owl looking exactly like this. That's the best part about owls is you can really get creative and have a little fun in coming up with your own design for each owl. The biggest things to remember is circle for the eye. Nice big circles are really good for owls. And also doing several rings of circles. You can do it where there's a big white circle, a color circle, and a black circle. This one has just a color and a black. Same with this one. So you have a lot of different options here. But basically, we're just starting with the body. So you would look at this one and put an oval on there with 2 triangles for the ears. This one, a little shorter, squatter. The head is definitely separate from the body, whereas this one, it's kind of cute because it's all kind of compact. This one, you see the circle for the head and a circle for the body. But notice how that circle overlaps. The head overlaps this body circle. This one is very similar. You got your circle for the head, only instead of a short circle for the body, you have more of an oval for the body. Okay, and the only difference here is I turned that circle up afterwards. I just took this and moved it up. So you can do any combination. If you like some parts from here and some parts from here and some parts from there, you can kind of mix and match, which is really fun. And then on this one, it was an oval. And all I did was make a triangle that was curved to come out for the side wing. And if you look at this one, it's almost kind of like a snowy owl. You can see that you have this almost heart shape to the face, which is so pretty. And then the little beak down here. So what I want you to do right now, pick one of these styles. This one's sideways, these are all facing forward, and decide, do I need a circle and an oval, 2 circles? Do I need just one big oval or a long skinny oval? You're going to choose one and put it on your paper. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a couple of different examples. That way you guys can have a little fun mixing, matching your own. All right, so for mine, let's say I'm going to do a nice big owl here. I'm going to put the circle here. And this is the one with the line that comes up. And then I'm going to fit, this one is going to come all the way down to the branch. So make sure that when you do your second, no matter where you start your head, the next one has to make contact with that branch. If it doesn't make contact with that branch, then you're going to have to do a little maneuvering with your branch to get it up there to your bird. All right, so there's the base for that one, and we're going to leave these alone. We don't need to do any more detail to this yet because we're going to be painting the background. And I will go ahead and show just the demonstration of a couple different bodies, but I will not be completely painting these. I will finish one. Let's do this one, the cute little one. Okay, so there's my body shape for that one. And let me get that out of my way for a second. And let's say I have this one here. Okay, so now that we have kind of the basic shape of our birds, we're going to go ahead and leave that there. By the way, if you take longer to do this, no problem. You can always pause my video, finish your step, and then continue the video. That's the awesome part about doing this virtually, is you don't have to wait on anybody else. You can literally take this class at your own pace. So if you have a lot of girls painting all at once, pause the video, complete the step, and then you can go on to the next one when you're ready. Okay, as a group, you're wanting to make these fit together. So you can choose, you can purposely mix match your background so that they all look different. Maybe daytime, nighttime, stormy background, or you can try to make them all look the same. So, and you could do like a 3 or 4 seasons if you wanted. So you do not have to have the same background. You can totally choose to go different, or as a group, you can decide to all do the same background. So if you want to hang them next to each other and you want them to look identical, like they go together, then you can all use the same colors for your background. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up my background color because I like the idea of owls that fly at night. So I'm going to make mine look like a darker blue. And I want to make sure I have enough of this because I have quite a bit of a background to paint. So I'm going to put quite a bit on here. Let's call that good. And I'm going to cap that while I'm not using it. I'm going to add just a little bit of purple, or sorry, a little bit of red to make it purple. And then I'm going to go a little bit darker if I feel like it needs to with my black. So let's add the red first. You do not have to do this the same color as mine. That's the beauty of this, is that you have your kind of freedom to choose your own colors as you go. Because I'm not doing a lot of red, this is going to look much more blue than it is purple. And I'm okay with that because I still want it to look like a night sky. If you wanted a purple background, you're going to want to do a lot more red than that in order to get it to be purple. So what I'm going to do is take and mix these together. That's a pretty good color right there. Nice dark purple. And I don't think I'm going to need hardly any black. I actually think I might have a little fun with my gray and add just a tad bit of gray to this since I have it on there. And it's not going to do too much to it because it is just a small amount being added, but it should make it just a little bit duller and not quite as dark. I'm going to go dark, but not too dark. All right, and if you ever want to test your color to see how it looks on your paper, you can always take and just try a little bit and see if you're happy with it. Okay, I will tell you this much. Depending on how you want to do your owls, if you want to do your owls so that they're really bright and colorful and playful, you want to go with a darker background. If you want to go with a more realistic background, you can go with more neutral colors for your owls. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work my way around my owl with my brush, trying to stay close to the shape that I've already painted. That way I'm not wasting any paint by painting the whole thing purple. I'm using it right where I actually need it. All right, I'm going to fast forward this spot. You guys can check in with me in a little bit and I will be all done. You guys can pause and go ahead and color your backgrounds in using whatever color you would like and have a little fun with it. I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, so real quick before we get into our owl, this is the time that if you want to add snow or if you want to add rain or clouds or stars, you could do that to your background as well. You might want to make sure that this is dry. You can tell when it's dry. I'm going to just kind of move this slowly. Do you see how there's spots that are kind of shiny? Those are the spots that are still wet. So you're going to want to wait until those are at least dry enough to do that. While you're waiting, you can go ahead and take a color. It doesn't have to be gray, but you can take black or gray, or you can even mix up a brown. If you look at your paper, there is a recipe for brown. You take a little bit of each of the primary colors and mix them together. And you can add a little bit of white to that to make it lighter, and you can come up with your own color brown. So you have a lot of options here for what you want to do with your color of your branch. If you want to add anything to the background, now's the time, if you're going to make a Four Seasons picture, to add flowers to your tree or fall colors on your leaves or snow on your branch. So you can go in and really have fun adding the detail that you need for each one. And when you're done, we're going to let this dry for a bit before moving on to the owl. So I'm going to continue painting. In a moment, I'm going to bring all three pictures that I have started back into the picture frame, and you can kind of see what we have been doing. I have my mother-in-law helping me paint one of the boards. So between the two of us, we're going to get all three of these painted and ready to move on to the owls. All right, I'm going to fast forward and I'll come back in a moment. Okay, so just to show you what I've done with some of these, I have some fun things going with mine. I have my winter one looking pretty good. I also have my fall one ready to go. So if you want to add any detail to your branch before you finish, if you have a little one, leaving it just gray is probably going to be just fine. But you can take black or mix black into your gray to kind of dull it a little bit. And you can add some texture to your branch if you want to give it a little more realistic look. This is not going to make or break your painting, so if your little one is too young to kind of know how to do this, just having a solid gray branch is just fine. But I like that texture look to it. I added some colorful leaves to my branch to make this one look like fall, and I am ready to go into detail on my face. So what I will be doing is using again my gray, because it's easier to paint over gray than it is black. And I will be adding detail to my face. So what you want to do is think about what kind of face do you want on yours. You do not have to do exactly my combination. You can have fun looking up other owls and kind of having fun playing with what you want it to look like. But I'm going to start by adding my eyes, because once your eyes are in place, it's easier to place the rest of the detail around it. And I'm going to go really big eye, almost like Angry Bird eyes. And once I have this in place, and don't be afraid of this, guys, because if it messes up and it's not perfect, the beautiful part about acrylic is once it's dry, you can coat over top of it pretty easily, and it does dry fairly quickly. So if these aren't even, if it's bothering you, if you're the kind of person who needs everything to be perfectly symmetric, you can go back and fix it later when you're painting the actual color on here. So let's just get the approximate placement of your certain features first, and then you can obsess over your details after you get that in. So for those little kids, you really want to focus on basic shapes, circles for the eyes, and then I would even wait for their inner circle and have them do that with their colors, so that way it's not as hard for them to fill that in. Triangle shape or diamond shape for the nose, or a beak, I should say. And then you can come up with your own fun design for the wings. C shape, or on this one, I brought it down long and skinny. And then, hang on. You're okay. And then on this one, I'm just doing little backward C's, but you can really kind of have fun coming up with your own design. You could add a little circle to the belly and paint stripes in there after you add your color. But basic shapes, go through, add your detail to each part of your bird, and think about what makes an owl look like an owl. Diamond shape or triangle shapes, peaks are very popular. You can do those up here. You can do it down here on the chest. You could do both. I'm going to add my ears in too, because that triangle shaped ear is also very prominent. You really need that in there to make it look like an owl. I will point out there are times where the feathers actually kind of start here and go out like that. I think that's the horn-tailed owl. I can't remember what it's called, but so you have a lot of different options. Or if you have, for example, the snowy owl like this, you don't see the prominent pointy ears on this one. So there are a few owls that you're not going to see that, but for the most part, you're going to see that triangle shape up top. So choose which kind of owl you want to do. Go in, add those basic details, and then we are going to talk color as soon as we're done with that. Okay, as you start to fill in your bird, if you are a little, you're going to want to just aim for doing nice clean lines, coloring this in nice and solid. So if you're 5, 6, 7 years old, you're just going to want to try to get clean lines, painting it nice and solid. If you are older and you want to have a little fun, you could add some texture into this just by adding different values. So by the way, color mixing is going to be a big part of this. You can create different colors, red and yellow together, make that orange color. We already made our purple by combining a little bit of red and blue together, but I also went ahead and added a bunch more white to make a couple different values of that purple. So I layered in my lighter color purple first, but now I'm going to go back in and pick up this medium purple while this is still wet, and I can have fun adding some texture to my owl and just kind of allowing these to layer in on top of each other while it's still wet. And you can get this really cute fuzzy looking owl just by kind of getting those two different values that are same color, different value, and allow them to mesh in a sloppy way to get that fuzzy texture. This is also a really good technique when you're doing flowers. So if you want to do cherry blossoms on your tree or something, you can do that with that as well. If you want, you can go ahead and do like little tiny fuzzies coming out of the edge of your bird. Oh, he looks so cute. Look at that. So you can really kind of have fun with this. There's a lot of ways to modify your bird to kind of have its own personality separate from everybody else's. I might even take some of my dark purple and come up here for the top. So, and when you're coloring this in, do you notice how I'm going right over top of that gray line? I don't need a gray outline around my bird. I can paint my colors so that it is smooth and even, and it covers that line up. So I no longer see my gray anymore. If you are not wanting your colors to blend, the simple technique is to let it dry. Give it a little dry time in between each of your colors, especially if you're painting something close together. That will keep your colors from blending in unwanted ways. I'm going to fast forward again, and the next time you see my picture, it will be complete. So I hope you guys each have fun finding ways to personalize your owls and have fun adding your own little details to your birds. So can't wait to see all of these posted on the Facebook page. Hopefully you guys will share your artwork with us. Okay, we have finished our paintings as a family over here. As you can see, we went with the multi-season look. So we have our spring, fall, and winter. If you have multiple people in your household, you could do one long branch, same season, maybe different weather. But yeah, it was fun. I hope you guys had fun with it too. As you can tell, we have some realistic looking birds. We have a really fun, bright, colorful bird. There is no right or wrong answer. If you're younger, keep it simple. Basic colors, basic line, basic detail like the little loopy line or straight lines. So easy things that little kids can do. If you're older, you can challenge yourself to doing more texture and layering of your color. Hope you guys had fun with this activity, and I can't wait to see what you guys did.